Welcome to another episode of The Good, Bad, and Ugly of Business. I'm your host, Katrin Becker. In this episode, or in all of our episodes, we love to talk about, hey, a smart man learns from his mistakes while a genius learns from others. And so we really bring in experts from all different fields because there's way more that brings us together than separates us. And by learning from what others have learned, we can either avoid those mistakes ourselves or we can learn to fail faster, which is really the ultimate goal. So in today's episode, we are still staying in the vein of marketing, but we're taking it in a different direction. And we're learning really about the value of specialization, and that the phrase, the riches are in the niches, really is a true statement, especially for today's guest, who is Katie Stoddard. And she is the founder and managing director. I'm already in the marketing mindset right now for a great company called Ed to Market. So Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We were talking before I started recording and she was saying all of these great things. And I was like, oh God, stop. We got to wait and put this in the recorded version. So please let the audience know, what was your journey to come to found Ed to Market?
Sure. So it's a 20-year journey for me. And I started as a classroom teacher. I was a middle school teacher back in the early 2000s.
I have a middle schooler. God bless you.
It was, I was in my early 20s and really didn't know what I was getting into, but I loved it. But I just knew there was something else for me and something a little bit different. I didn't see myself as a long-term teacher. And after spending a couple years in the classroom, I moved on to educational publishing. And as an English teacher, I took a job as an editor for a publishing company. And it was a really excellent position. I kind of grew with that company a little bit. And eventually found myself in, staying in education, moving on to another publishing company, and then eventually getting into marketing. And so I really, kind of have this unique career path where I spent most of my time at about 3 different publishing and professional learning companies in education. And it was honestly a little bit on accident. I didn't really plan to have this long career in education publishing. It was just these opportunities came up. I was able to move around. And I really, looking back, had this really just interesting, very valuable experience kind of in a couple different places and a couple different roles. But while all this was happening, I always, really from the very beginning had this idea that I wanted to do something on my own. I wanted to work for myself. And it's so funny because it's like, I had no idea what that was. I have, kind of going back, all these random business ideas I've had, like start a cupcake shop or, things like this, totally different than anything I've ever done professionally. But I just didn't know what my thing was, even though, to be honest, it was right in front of me the whole time. And
but isn't that always the case?
I know it's
always right there.
So funny, looking back on it, why that never really crossed my mind. And now I love it. I love what I do. And, running this marketing agency has been so amazing. And so early 2020, I kind of finally, I was in a position that really wasn't the right fit for me. And I finally just decided it was time to leave. I honestly left without anything planned, and I just started freelancing to pay the bills. And in the end, it was such the best timing. I had 3 small kids at home. It was the start of the pandemic. It allowed me a lot of flexibility. And able to be home and enjoy that time with them, as funny and crazy as it was. And during that
was
time,
a crazy time.
Yes.
Everything's, quote unquote normal now, but man, it was wild.
I know. I think at the time, I had 4-year-old twins and a 3-year-old. And so it was different, but it was fun. And it was I actually reflect on that time positively because we got a lot of fun at home time and just, I got to enjoy that sort of being a stay-at-home mom while still, starting to launch this business. And
best of both worlds.
I know, exactly. So I freelanced for a while, mostly in the marketing and content development space, and mostly for companies in education too, although I wasn't specializing. I was really taking anything at the time. And so eventually it grew and grew, and it really just happened organically. Likely because of the fact that a lot of education companies were, laying folks off and then realized that they needed support. And
Mhm.
so it just happened quickly. And all of a sudden, I was in a place where I needed to look at starting to hire additional help and build a team. And I launched Ed to Market. And so at that time, I decided, because most of the clients that I had were in the education space, and most of the team that I had built were folks that I'd worked with in the past, that it made sense to specialize and to really kind of double down and focus on what we knew and what we were experts in.
I think it was Warren Buffett. He has some quote, and I'm totally paraphrasing here because I didn't pull it up because I didn't want to not be listening to what you were saying. But it's something about like the focus on what you know.
Yes,
It's something
yes.
to that effect. And there's a lot to that because, yes, while I may know a lot about eating cupcakes, I would know nothing about starting a bakery and what that would look like. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing your journey and how you serve the world. What's the best way for someone to reach out to you if they would like to get more information, like to work with you?
Sure. So our website is ed2market.com. So it's ed2market.com. You can find us on all the social channels at ed2market. LinkedIn is a great way to connect with me. And yeah, you can also contact us through the website. So thank you so much for having me. It's been fun chatting and really enjoyed our time today.
Oh my gosh, it's been my pleasure. And I will make sure I have all of the links in the show notes.
Okay.
For everyone to click on and make it very nice and easy to do.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you for the listeners for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your audience. If there is a particular topic or industry that you are curious about, please reach out so that we can find the perfect guest to interview and get all of your questions answered. Until next time, everyone, have a great day.